All right, let's see if this works. If you can hear me, hopefully. Anybody here yet? Hi, Kay. How are you? Is the sound working? Okay, it's working. Yay! Let's see, I've got Linda, Ali, CB. Oh, you changed your name again? Sorry. And Starry Sky. Okay. What happens when I put my headphones in? They just jack up the sound and I don't know how to fix it. Hi, Regine. This week went so fast. Totally. 1,000%. I feel like I was live yesterday. Everything was like, hi, Phyllis. Yeah, go ahead, Kay. You can donate. Oh, Starry Sky went back to the old one. She commented on the old one. Hopefully she'll figure it out. So we had an orchestra concert this week. We had parent-teacher conferences. Next weekend on Saturday, I have I think it's a little disorganized. I have I'm supposed to do what do they call it? Like a little showcase thing of my ice skating. Not just me alone, like in like a mini synchro team. And I can't go to the last practice. Well, I don't even know if we have ice time on Wednesday night, but I can't go to it anyway because I promised to do readings for a church out of Brooklyn, the Open Doorway, which was founded by my friend another friend of mine who passed away, was our fellow Reverend Paul, and his godson now runs it. And hi, Camel. Camel, are your initials AS? Did you change your name again from before? Okay, Kate, I've got you. So Paul passed away a long time ago, but this is his church that I'm going to be doing reading for, and this is an online thing. And when I agreed to it, I didn't realize it was Wednesday night because I would have never I love ice skating so much that I would have never. I thought it was a Monday night. I don't know why. But I agreed to it, and so now, whatever. But there may not be ice time anyway, so I don't feel that terribly bad. Phyllis, I gotcha. So let me see. Hang on. Kay and hi, Paul. A white cross. It was big. My sister did not see it. What does that mean? Thank you. Meaning she saw it there, but you saw it there, but she didn't physically see it, or she just missed it because you were driving by. I just want to be clear before I answer questions. Hang on. I do want to dim this light just a little, or maybe I'll brighten it. Maybe that's what it is. That just fixes my dark setback eyes. It was just okay. Hang on. I got you, Phyllis. I was about to type your name in. Okay. And then I had a CPR class I had to take this morning that, even though I used to be a nurse, I didn't keep any of my certifications or anything up, and I obviously, but I needed it for Girl Scouts. So I was sitting through that this morning. The lady was very nice. She did a good job teaching it, but I was just, a little sleepy baby. So here I am. Oh, and I'm supposed to do this little thing anyway. So it might be a little rough. But I'm going to do it. Phyllis, I got yours. Okay, so let's get started. Tanya, hi, nice to meet you. Thank you for joining us, Tanya. So these are paid. The personal readings are paid readings. They're $12 a reading. I take 30% and I donate it to the Community Food Bank of New Jersey. Every dollar that we donate provides 3 meals for them. And I'm not like the stores, the big corporate stores that already get big tax breaks. I take it off of my money. I don't ask you for additional money to do that. So I'm, making less. And that's fine because this is all a good purpose. But then at the end, we do big general readings, which are like, world events and things like that. And I guess I'll talk about some of what I've picked up on, like, I don't know if anybody's heard about like the big booms in Idaho and the drones, what I've picked up on them. We can talk about that stuff if you guys want. Okay, so Paul, hang tight and I will answer that, just because I think that what I'm picking up is more that's not such a personal thing that I actually could help other people too, because I think it's more of an intuitive psychic thing. Okay. And I want to sit with it a little bit more before I just like spout out. All right. So we've got Linda. Are you here? Did I see your name earlier? If you're not here, we can move forward to Allie. We'll just kind of go down the list. Allie, I swear you spell your name different every time. Do you? I don't know. Sorry, I spelled your name with an I instead of a Y. Julia, are you on the list? Let me check. How are you, dear? Yes, you are. You made it. I just didn't refresh. So I'll get you on there. Thanks for letting me know. Whoop. I had an interesting thing happen as my friend, okay, sorry. My friend we do messages through Marco Polo. She's like literally the only person I use this app for. I have an app just for her. She's like, you should use this. And literally nobody else I know uses it. So we use it. And so it's like a video messaging app. And she was telling me how her mother, she's had a rough couple of weeks. And her mother then ended up in the hospital. And her mother is on a medication, like one of the GLP ones. And she ended up in the hospital with like leg pain really bad. And I was like, oh, like immediately when she was like, oh, we had to go to the hospital. She's in the ambulance, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, oh, like, did she just up her medication? Because I bet that's what it is. I checked in with her later. I was like, hey, what's going on? How's your mom? And then she's like, oh, they think it's arthritis and they're doing all these things. And I was like, oh, okay, whatever. And then the next day she was like, oh my God, you're not going to believe this. It's her medicine. You were totally right. You were the first person to say something about it. And I was like, well, she's like, you're always right about it. Like 8 months before her mom was diagnosed with congestive heart failure. I was like, I think she has congestive heart failure. She's like, no, she's seeing a cardiologist. She's fine. I'm like, okay. I don't know why I get it the way I get it, but I do. Okay. Will I meet my future partner soon? Yeah, but I don't think that. So this feels like within the next year, but I also don't feel like it's like love at first sight, googly eyes kind of thing. I genuinely feels like to me it starts more as like you won't know it. And they're going to be sort of maybe in the background for a little bit or more on the periphery. It takes a little bit for the connection to happen. So now you're going to start with the affirmations of, I am worthy and deserving of love. I am ready and I welcome this. Like do all the self-concept stuff so that when this happens, you're not like actually subconsciously pushing it away because you're afraid of commitment and emotional connection, right? Because you're worthy and deserving of love. You're lovable. You love yourself, all of those things. In my email I sent out this morning, I don't know if any of y'all got it, but I did some morning affirmations. Like these are the kinds of things that I do. These are things I say to myself. These are things I say with my kids before we go to bed. And sorry, I know nobody really cares about my hair, but it bothers me when I'm sitting here staring at it and I'm not looking at everybody else. Like, Okay. Thank you. And so I say, like, I am lovable, I am loved, I love myself. These are things I say with my kids at night before we go to bed. Because I think a huge part of, like, also why we accept yucky stuff in relationships or people that are not, you know, maybe not the best for us is because we don't believe we're lovable. Thank you. Sorry, Sky, I have to tell you, I was thinking about you the other day. I was like, I haven't seen her in a while. I wonder where she's at. And here you are. And I don't want to be like psycho and be like, hey, come see me. Come join me. You don't have to pay for questions. Just join the group. We miss your energy. Like, I feel like that's a little bit of a boundary crosser. Like, you're supposed to be professional. And thank you for looking at them. I didn't check to see. I quick did that. I sent it out this morning before I had to go. Oh, you joined Blue Sky because of me. Yay. It's so I'm going to try and be like better about, I have like a scheduling app where I can just like go click, click, click and put everything up there. But they're not included in that app, and because they're so new and just growing. Seeing Mariah Carey on Wednesday night in PA, can't wait. All I want for Christmas is you. Oh, that's such a good iconic song. I really hope that she has a fabulous night and her voice is like on point. Because there's nothing worse than like having this dream of this person and then you go and they're like, Hi, Linda. Okay, so Linda, what's your question? And then Allie, we'll go back to your second one since we kind of skipped forward. But yeah, I like seeing live concerts. I won, hopefully my kids aren't watching. I won a little thing I can't tell you what it is yet, but I won a little thing we had like a holiday bazaar at the school, and I donated a reading and in the raffle, and that was like kind of scary for me because I put myself out here, like whatever. I don't know if people actually from my community see me. Like, they don't ever say anything to me. They're very quiet about it if they do. But that was like a little bigger thing to be like, okay, here I am. That was like a little, you're newly involved with a guy named Gagan, and it's going very well. Congratulations. Will he be a good partner for me? Does he have a history of respiratory stuff or like asthma? Or is he getting over something? Not that you know of. Maybe just like plop this down because I just felt like my lungs just totally contract up when I read his name. And that feels like either having just recently had some kind of respiratory thing or having a history of like, I don't want to say a history of a smoker. Yes.
Daisy did this to me.
Go clean your face and don't come in again. Please don't. I wish you could have seen her face. I think my middle daughter, I think it was red lipstick. I'm hoping, oh God. Red lipstick or marker is, and her nose is, my little one is now covered in whatever. Okay, focus. The reason I feel that is like maybe a former smoker. I don't know, but sorry. Or maybe he's getting something because I also feel like really full here. I feel like, yes, I do feel like he's going to be good for you. Although I feel like he's a bit more reserved. Like, you're going to have to pull his energy out a little bit. He feels like he's a bit more reserved. It takes him a little longer to open up. I do feel like he has a nice laugh. He feels very traditional. He's quiet but super sweet. Yeah, it feels like you have to pull his energy out, but once you do, it's like he's got this really nice laugh. He feels very, very traditional. There's something very warm about him. Like I don't know if it's like literally he's just physically warm to touch. I mean, I'd hope so. You don't want a cold fish, right? But like I literally feel like warmth, like when you like maybe this is the way he makes you feel is like feeling warmth of like sitting next to a fire. It just feels very, very warm in his energy. I feel like you have a fear of like falling into this and not being able to see the warning signs or being like duped, and you're not going to have to worry about that. I feel very much like you can trust yourself in this situation. I do feel like he's a good guy. Yeah. I don't feel like he's trying to dupe you or take advantage of you. Okay, Paul. I feel like he's very much um, a very good man. I feel like it might be a slower pace because he does feel a little bit more reserved. But that's not a bad thing to take your time and not just be like um, on this emotional wind. I do feel like he's like fairly intelligent and um, well read. Finally. So this is where you need to do this work, because even if we find them when they're good, if we allow our self-concept to like our old beliefs to like creep up, right? Then what happens? All that old stuff kind of comes into play. So you're going to keep doing the affirmations and reminding yourself, like, of course he would choose me because I'm amazing. I am lovable. I am loved. I love myself. Of course he would want to be honest and open with me because I am deserving of a relationship with emotional intelligence and honesty and openness. Of course, he's supportive of me because I'm deserving of support. Like you can put it in those terms, but it feels like just to keep reminding yourself when you start to get nervous or the worries or things like that. We do all need that in a man, right? Hello, welcome everybody. There's a lot of people here today. This is so exciting. It's usually very quiet here. But we're manifesting differently now, aren't we? So we all like, here's the thing, like we all are born with and programmed with belief systems that aren't the best for us. I think that's just part of human nature. And that's where this idea of generational healing comes into play. And we really learn through our mistakes as humans. And I kind of think that we come here specifically for that, right? So like when everything is really, really easy and wonderful, we actually get a little bored and you can find yourself sort of creating a little chaos. I mean, a lot of us, maybe not everybody, right? When everything comes so easy. So like I have this game that I play and then whatever. It's just like a way to like space out. And it's just like little balls and whatever. And I sort of developed this, like, I always win, blah, blah, blah. Like, it's so easy. Like you pass through the levels and really like, it's not, there's very little difficulty to it. But then I get bored with it sometimes. And I find when I get bored with it, all of a sudden, like it makes it like it gets the level is a little harder to pass. And I just think it's a belief system we create so that we have a little bit of a challenge because that challenge sort of presents a little excitement, right? The word is spreading how good it is here on Sunday. Yay, Julia. I believe it. Okay, great, Gia. I'll check. Gotcha. I'll add you. So, yeah, I feel like he's a good man, Linda, and I'm happy for you because, we all deserve love in our life and we all deserve wonderful partnerships and companionships and stuff. Allie, what's your second question? You're very welcome, Linda. A few days ago, I had a weird tingling sensation on my upper back and chest. I think it was about heart chakra. Guides explain what it is about. I looked into it, but my understanding of it is vague. I think I was thinking about how when I was little, I would look up to the sky and question myself about what to do and about my life or something along those lines. So wait, it was where? Here and like in the back, like right in the center and in the back. So for me, the word they're making me feel it is like a cracking open almost. And I feel like it's connected to you having really sort of, correct me if I'm wrong, when you're doing the affirmations, like maybe actually kind of believing the things of I am worthy and deserving of love. I love myself. I am lovable. Those sort of ideas of like cracking that open and being like, oh, maybe it is time instead of like, well, I can't fall in love and get married until I have X, Y, and Z. Like you're sort of like letting go of some of these old beliefs. That's the feeling I get is that it's not that it's wide open yet and healed. It's just like it's got that crack and letting light in. Have you been working on those affirmations more? I was thinking about just seeing where things go and it will yeah. So here's the thing. Sometimes when you just let go enough to go like, well, let's just see what happens. That's like enough of a catalyst to open stuff up and let the energy in. When you just relax about it and be like, okay, whatever. And it's just enough of like sometimes like when people are like, oh, when you're finally tired, that's when things like start to happen. Well, yes and no, but it's really just because you finally just go like, I'm going to stop trying to control it. Because even though technically you're controlling your creations and your manifestations when you start working on self-concept, you're not holding on to it tightly and thinking like, well, the only way I'm going to be happy is if I have that thing. You're going, well, I can be happy without it, and won't it be cool when I get it? It doesn't matter. You need to like, it's really important for everyone to stop going like, if I'm not there, then I'm not good enough, right? That's like thinking like, if I would have thought in the beginning, well, I'm not that 20-year person who's been doing readings for 20 years, so I'm not good enough yet. It's not that good yet. Instead of where I was like, I'm just going to keep going. I'm going to keep trying and see what happens. Like even ice skating, like I'm not as good as that person, but I'm still going to keep trying. I'm not going to give up on myself because I'm not as good as that person. Like that's absurd. Everything, like literally everything we do is a practice. And the older I get and the more things I try and the more things I get used to and like learning to just not give up on myself, the more I recognize that literally everything is a practice, and whether or not if you just put in the time and and be consistent and keep showing up for yourself, you are bound to get better at it. That's literally all you have to do. It's not a magic wand. There is no like thing that's going to go, you are the most amazing thing in the world now. You have smiled enough. It's like, no, you just keep showing up and keep doing the thing and you get better and better at it every time. It's literally everything. Your affirmations, your self-concept, your manifesting, like your ability to just believe in yourself. You've always been experimental. I think what people think of me hurts my self-esteem. Well, at a point that becomes a choice. Okay. And I say that because at a point, now that you're aware, my beliefs create my reality and all of my happiness comes from within. Like, and if everybody is showing up as a reflection of your beliefs, not who you are, because I don't agree with that statement, but what your beliefs are, people are going to show up and play that role, then maybe that's a reflection of like, if they're showing up and they're not thinking well of you, maybe do you think well of you? Because the minute you start to go like, fuck it, I don't care. Even if somebody doesn't think well of you, you're like, whatever, who the fuck are they anyway? It doesn't mean that you're narcissistic either, but you can think highly of yourself and not have like this weird, grandiose idea of who you are, right? I am well aware of all of my faults and my shortcomings, and yet I still really like myself. Like, do I think I'm perfect? No. Oh my God, I flipped off a group of 12-year-olds yesterday. They were hockey players. They were being little pricks. They were doing a thing that you do when you bang on the glass at like a shootout or whatever, like to try and distract the other team. Hold on, I did. And I was working on my skills, and I just was like, sort of felt like a Gen X, whoops. And they were like, oh my God, you flipped us off. And I was like, I did. And I was like, and if you want, go get your coach or your parents. I'm happy to explain it. And they were like, they ended up, because they realized I was just like, whatever, I don't care. Like I'm not going to get in trouble. I don't care. And they were like, this one little boy was like, you hurt my feelings. I was like, no, I did not. It's like, go get your coach. They were being little punks. They were a bunch of overprivileged little boys who probably don't have a lot of boundaries or people to tell them that their behavior is not acceptable. And I just gave them a real world example of how they'll get treated. Whatever. Consequences. I wasn't worried about it. So I was just like, listen, I'm here in public. It's not like I wasn't worried. I'm not going to lose a job. And if they tell me I can't skate there anymore, well, there's a million other places I can skate. I am an imperfect being. I have some impulse issues, especially with my middle finger. Going like that. Whatever. So my point being is, I don't sit here and go, oh my God, I'm perfect. I'm wonderful. I'm the most amazing. I just go like, I can still like myself in spite of all of my imperfections. And so can you. If you need permission for it, you have permission today to like yourself in spite of all of your faults. I think you're comparing. Absolutely. Stop comparing yourself to other people. This is your journey. I've had that conversation many, many times with people. A girl that I grew up with when we were in our mid-20s, I was already working. I'd been a nurse for a few years, and she was still going to school. And she's like, but you're already far ahead. I'm like, but that's not your journey. Like, you're on your journey. Be cool with yourself about that. Like, it doesn't matter. And like, certainly don't compare yourself to like this idea that society, like if I'm not married or if I'm not partnered up, then I'm less valuable because, or I'm less lovable, because that's bullshit. That is white supremacy and patriarchy right there. This idea that we have to be paired up in order to be valuable. That is garbage. You are lovable and you aren't too picky if you haven't met the right person. To click. Like like it, geez. I wasn't until I was like 27 till I felt comfortable for somebody to call me a woman, or even myself refer to myself that way, because I just, in my head, I felt like a girl still. I just didn't feel, even though people's lives were in my hands and I really wish I pull my hair up right now. It's like sort of sensory irritating me. Um, like I was literally saving people's lives and like their life was held in my hands. And I just didn't feel that. And I think that's part of that frontal lobe stuff, but whatever. Just keep going. Whatever you've been doing, keep going. Keep going. Keep doing it. Don't stop. You're on the right track. And hopefully you'll be less impulsive than I am and not flip off a whole bunch of 12-year-old hockey boys. When I went to college, I hung out with guys who played in the juniors. They're the same as 12-year-olds. They don't change. I don't think they would not have been offended at all by that. And their mouths were probably worse than that. So, oh, CB, I didn't answer your question. Did I? No. So let's answer your question, CB. Did you ask it? No, you didn't. Okay. Okay, so let's answer your question. Let's keep moving. You know me, I'm a gabber. So Blue Sky I like because it's kind of like a mix between Twitter and Instagram. And I can post videos on there that are short. So I'm going to try and do more of that. I'm trying to be better. I was better. Last week was just so busy. Like I had one of my kids had a book fair at their school that I was volunteering at a couple days, and then early pickups and parent teacher conferences and homework. You found yourself in a conversation with Eli's nurse. Okay. And he felt comfortable with giving me his opinion about my marriage because I never changed my last name and because I'm separated. Oh. It's interesting that it was a man that did that, isn't it? I'm not man hating. I am just saying. It is something I have run into. Maybe that's my own belief system. So I'm getting a mix of two things here. Number one, it's like three. Okay, so this is going to kind of be like a ramble to get to this. So when we're uncertain or unsure, you asked him to call you by your maiden name. And then he was like, what was his opinion of that? Oh, and he had opinion about you not taking your estranged husband. Can we call him that? Oh. I mean, okay, I'm gonna say this. I'm like, first of all, fuck him. Second of all, sorry. I think that we all need to develop a little bit more of when somebody does something, that's like that. It's just like, again, it's like one of those lines of like, people are allowed to their opinions. You don't have to accept them and you don't have to buy into them. Like, yeah, but like that's like the more that I understand belief systems, the more I'm like, one, it shows up because it's a reflection of your belief systems, maybe about the insecurity about doing it or what other people's judgments are of it. And then you're going to have the people that are up and ready to let you know and judge you. And the other thing is like on the other side of that is like, I that's a great opinion of yours to have, and yet I don't agree with it. Like, I don't agree with it. I don't accept it. And there you go. Like, isn't that interesting? And you move on with your day. Um, when I'm feeling his energy, it feels a bit misogynistic. It also feels just kind of like he doesn't feel like he can be wrong. Um, I'm going to say this about firing him. You are entitled to do it. But this thing I was going to say before you even said that was, how is he with Eli? Is he good with Eli? Does Eli like his energy? Because if he's good with Eli and Eli likes his energy, maybe let that pass. It's a one-time thing. If something else happens again where you feel like you're totally disrespecting me in my home, it's time to go. We have egos. Ta-da, we're human. We have egos. This idea of like, I can't be in my ego, like this idea of like ascension is weird to me. I think I used to really like it because it made me feel like when I was feeling really uncertain of myself, then that I'd be worthy of something, right? I don't necessarily believe in ascension or as separating yourself from your ego because your ego is sort of like part of being human. And so my thought is, if it continues and it feels like he's not being respectful in your home, then that's where you draw the line. Like you have to make that boundary, right? Um, I'm getting 3 weeks for a timing. I don't know what that means, but I don't think you'll fire him this week. But I think what happens is this is more of a sense of you learning your boundaries and like what you're willing to accept and not accept. And so it's not like you have to say anything. You could say something to him and just say, like, I just want you to know that you are an employee in my home and speaking to me the way you did when you felt freely to speak to me the way you did, that was not acceptable. And going forward, I would appreciate if you would speak to me in a more professional manner. Period. End of story. And then if he can't, then he has his warning. And you can also contact the agency and just kind of let him know. And that's what you can say is I didn't ask for your opinion. This is my name. This is what I go by. And I don't owe you an explanation for it. And if so that's it. You can just let him know he crossed a line and say, I expect that it won't happen again. That's sort of taking your power back. You're totally entitled to do that. And you know what? He may be a shit about it. And then it's like, well, then maybe this isn't the place for you to work. It's no fun, especially around the holidays. And that to me is more about him than it is really about your spouse. That to me is his own bruised ego. Like, I have seen men when when they've gone through a really bad divorce, like really take up for another man's bad behavior because of what they've gone through. It's more of and you know about this, it's a projection thing. And, that's also about his own, insecurities around, like I'm not a man or I'm not really a husband if she doesn't have my name. And really, last names become about ownership. Rings are all symbols of ownership. So I like the way they do it in Spain. They do both names, and I'm taking both the male and the female name. Yeah. I mean, it sounds like you want to fire him. And I I don't listen, I'm not getting a bad thing either way. Like when I'm listening to your comments, it's like I'm just reflecting back to you what you're saying. I don't feel like I'm doing anything psychic here. But it sounds like it's time to part ways. It sounds like he really did cross a boundary. And so maybe this is a lesson in you learning to like be okay with like respecting your own boundaries. Because you know this, boundaries aren't to make other people fall into line. It's like for you to go, this is my threshold. That's it. And it's okay for me to have this, and it's okay for me to say this is now unacceptable. And I'm, if you cannot maintain decorum, then we have to part ways. I suspect you're not the only person he's ever done that to. I've had hired people to come in and do work, and men that feel they can speak and say whatever the hell they want. It's construction guys. Well, what's interesting about the whole men are leaders and women is that, like, actually women's brains are more developed to be leaders, which is interesting. I just heard that the other day, and no, I cannot reference or cite the source. Look it up. And that's like really that idea of like that. It's just the misogyny, patriarchy, white supremacy, like all that colonialism, and it all gets wrapped up into that. It's insidious and it harms everybody. It's harming himself to have those thought processes. And it's unfortunate. So looks like you have your answer. You didn't need me. You just needed a little bit of a sounding board. Sorry, I'm a little obsessive about putting stuff on. I just don't like my lips to feel dry. And at a point, they stop feeling like moisturized. Yeah, you have every right to not like that. That's just, it's an uncomfortable situation. And when people work in your home in intimate spaces, and unfortunately, some people don't know that, like you have a level of like, yes, you become comfortable, but there's also a level of like, you still, unless somebody asks your opinion or your insight for something, you still just and watch them do whatever they do, whether you believe it or not. I didn't work in homes with people, but I did work in when I worked as a nurse, you work in very intimate spaces with people when they're very vulnerable. And unless they asked my opinion about stuff, I did not offer it. I watched a lot of stuff. And maybe that's something also that he has to work through in this lifetime is learning to have to be respect and answer to a woman. Okay, so I'm going to move forward just so we don't. Is that okay? Camel, what's your question? You're welcome. I'm glad I could be a sounding board. I don't feel like it was that, but it's his own stuff too. Like sometimes, here's the thing. When we do the manifesting stuff and we have these belief systems and all of that stuff, we call into our lives people that also have stuff that has to be worked on and that will fit that bill perfectly. It's very interesting. It's not just it's much more complicated than we create our reality and everybody is you pushed out kind of a thing. But it's like we call in those parts. If everybody is you pushed out, we call in those parts of us that will help reflect back to us to help us see better and learn better. You start your morning pages, but besides that, I'm writing a book that I will translate and be on Amazon. Will that book be wait, will that book wait? Sorry. That I will be translating and put on Amazon. What do you mean by that book? Because I want to make sure I'm answering this correctly. Oh, the success. Okay. I just wanted to make sure. I thought that that's what you meant, but then I was like, I don't know. So is this book going to be a little bit thinner? Like it's not a big hefty read. And it feels like that's the one that leads to the other one, but it's like this like gives people a taste of your style and then it leads to this other one. I keep feeling like you may get it edited through like somebody who on Fiverr, hiring somebody on Fiverr or something like that. I don't feel like you just put it out there. Like it feels like a part of a story. It doesn't feel like it's the whole story. Yeah. So it feels like I have the short one and it leads to a longer one. So the short one has some success and it's like it starts to get your readership. It starts to get the people that really like your style and your stories. And that's what pulls them into this other one. This other one becomes a little bit more successful. But it's like that's the hook, the draw. Hi, Regine. I got you. I also feel like it would be very beneficial for you to get on social media with stuff and getting stuff out there. I know it's not fun, but you can do it faceless. You can just do your voice, or you can even make it like have like a picture and have like a you know, they have those like where it's not really your voice, where it makes a funny voice. I mean, it doesn't matter. Just putting your stuff out there is important. And then engagement is really important. So like get on Book Talk if you're going to do, and I know everybody says TikTok's going to be banned. I don't think it'll be banned. I still think there's going to be like a mass exodus from it, but I still think it'll be there. And you can always put it on, you know, Instagram and Facebook. I'm also on Lemonade, which is like the TikTok sister thing, which is similar to Blue Sky. So I'm going to have similar stuff in different, I'm just trying to broaden my base. Your social media about your writing, just about your writing, just about what you're writing, write about your book. Just whatever you're writing, get on there, even just like get your feet wet before you put any content out there and just start getting familiar with Book Talk. And other writers, writing styles and things like that. You can even get into groups on there. Wherever you want to expand, you can get into groups on there that are writing groups, and then people can give you feedback. You can do like, I mean, but it just feels like because that might be your first base of your writers is other writers, and then they share your content. Like it's like it just feels like kind of getting yourself immersed in a group instead of being out here solo and floating around in the wind. And there's, I mean, you can even do like there's got to be Facebook groups, I'm sure. I hate Facebook. And I mean, I am like always like dragging my feet to do the Facebook stuff, but I know that there's still a lot of people over there. I barely ever go on it. So then I'm like, oh God, I missed somebody's birthday or the death of their dog. I have one friend from high school who's, I guess maybe he's more active on it. I don't know how he found out he's more active, but he always emails me or messages me through Facebook, whatever. And it's like, this person died. And I'm always like, oh, he's a very nice guy, my friend from high school, but I was thoughtful of him to do that. He was actually really thoughtful to say, like, so I'm in high school, I went by my nickname, which is Ani. And he's like, what do you go by now? I'm like, Anna. Like, my kids don't even really know me by my nickname at all. And my husband still calls me that. My mom does sometimes. And they're like, why do they call you that? That's weird. Like, I know it does sound weird when people say it. What do I see in the long run? Long run for you? It feels like a little bit more of a slow build, but it feels like gaining confidence and getting your footing and kind of getting your training wheels off eventually. But it's like this first book is really like, it's important for you to do this stuff. And yes, regarding your writing, it's important for you to do this to like get out there, but it's important for you to like also create a community, and that community may be other writers at first. Hi, Vidhista. Oh, Mira. I do not understand this, Mira. Hang on. Can you clarify that question? And right. Okay, so that's where I feel like you should go. Okay, Starry Sky, what's your question? These are paid readings, Mira. So they're $12 a question, and I donate 30% to the Community Food Bank of New Jersey. Pain in the right hip leg. Any idea what it is from? Exciting question. Okay. I don't think you're going to like this. It's good old arthritis. I do feel like there's some dehydration and some like a magnesium deficiency, maybe. Do you take a little bit of a magnesium supplement? Yeah, that's kind of what I feel like. I also feel like there's something with a calcium thing too. Do you take a D3K2, because you need that K2 to pull the calcium out of your blood and push it into your bones? I really feel like hydration is major. Like, I think this is the most ridiculous cup ever because I think it's huge, but I only have to fill it twice a day in order to remember to drink enough water, and then whatever other fluids I have on top of it, then I know that I've gotten enough, specifically just water. And my point being, like, maybe you just need to have more. So when I went to, I'm going to tell the story again. I think I've told it before, but I know I didn't tell it to you. So the last service I went to in the city, I was late. I missed basically the majority of the service because there was so much traffic, but I only needed to be there for the message circle at the end. That was my requirement, or what I had agreed to. And I sat down, I got there a few minutes before the service ended, and I felt Stephen, my mentor in spirit, sitting next to me. And I was like, all right, Stephen, this is the message I'm looking for. I want clarity on, like, because I gained, like, got COVID, had MCAS, huge flare up, gained a whole bunch of weight. And I've like been doing all the things you're supposed to do. And I'm like, why is it not coming off? Please get me a message for that. So I was thinking, like, one of the people reading would be like, hey, I'm coming to you and here's your message. Doesn't always happen that way when you throw out into the universe. Be open to that. So then I went and sat down. We were going to start the circle. I sat down next to Janet, who's the president now, and does most of the services. And she's this lovely older woman. And I was like, it's so hot in here. And she's wearing, she didn't have a sweater on. Normally she has a sweater on. And she's like, oh, is it? She's like, I'm even cold in the summertime. I don't think. I was like, oh. And she's like, well, I lost a whole bunch of weight. And I was like, I thought it looks like you lost weight. But I didn't know, because you usually have a sweater on. And she said, yeah. I said, well, what did you do? So I thought maybe she took some medicine. And she said, no, I just started drinking water. And I was like, well, Stephen, look at how that conversation came about. So I started drinking water, and the weight's finally coming off. And like, it's helped a lot. It's helped my sleep. It's helped a lot of other things. So feels like that. Just posting mine because I'm about to drive. Oh, okay, perfect. What's going on with my health? Okay. Perfect. You're on top of it. So that's what I feel. Starry Sky. I do feel like there's a bit of arthritis, because it feels like, and it's interesting. Have you had I don't know if they test for osteoporosis or the density or bone density test, because I feel like there might be a bone density issue, to be honest with you. Because the way I'm feeling it is, do you know, like, here, so this is selenite, and it's a super soft stone, and you can scratch it pretty easily and break it pretty easily, and it flakes pretty easily. And it feels like they were showing me like almost like a calcite too, so it feels like there's a little bit of maybe an issue with your bone density. And so that's why I'm like, if you take D3, are you also taking K2? Because D3 can pull calcium and just like kind of have it hang out in your blood. You need the K2 to like push it into your bones. So might be worth next time you go to the doctor mentioning it. Like, hey, do we do bone density tests? Yada, yada, yada. Because that's the way I was shown it. Okay. All right, Kay, we're on to you. I'm so glad you're here. Starry Sky. It was nice to see you. Just posting mine because I'm going, okay. What is going on with my health? My body isn't functioning right. I have an appointment in 3 weeks with a gynecologist. Spirit said my ovaries are sick. Okay. I feel really tight in my neck, like right above my shoulders, but then into the base of my neck, it's pinching. Does that resonate when I say that? I know you're driving, so. No K2, I will get some of the bone density. Perfect. You're welcome. You're welcome. You're welcome. Oh no, these aren't free, honey. Sorry. I do a lot of work for free. And these are basically free. I'm doing these really cheap here. I haven't raised my prices for my regular readings in a long time. Like for the amount of experience I have and the good feedback I have, I really don't charge much. So the free part is when it's just general world event kind of things. Okay, so that's a boundary thing for me. And I always teach everybody else to have their boundaries. Okay. Kay, I don't know if you can answer this. So I felt really, really tight in my neck. I'm going to set the boundary. Okay. Okay. So really tight in my neck. I even feel like getting some headaches and, so my sense is it's not really that your ovaries are sick. It just feels like you're not getting the hormonal balance that you should be getting. I feel like your estrogen is off. And I don't know if this means you have a little bit, if your progesterone is a little bit off, or you only have a little bit of progesterone. And it feels like once that gets balanced out, you're fine. So they might put you on some supplements or some They don't call them supplements. What do they call it? Surgery for your headaches and neck, or surgery for your ovaries? I don't feel like you'll need surgery. Yeah, I don't feel like you'll need surgery. I feel like as long as you get what do you call it? Hormonal replacement therapy, HRT. I'm like, what is that? I really wish I had a hair thing. I really want to pull my hair back. No. No. It feels like it will be a forever thing. Yeah. And I heard low dose, so I don't think it'll be a huge dose of it. But you'll find that the neck pain, the shoulder pain, the headaches and things like that will go away. Like, I actually feel like the headaches are because of the neck tightness. But I feel like all of that will go away. No, it's reasonably priced. And you can always ask for generics and things like that too. Remember, keep that in mind. And then there's GoodRx, and I think, is that the Mark Cuban thing? Okay. Vidhista, I really understand that you're worried, but I also feel like I've set my boundary and you're continuing to press that. And that's not very respectful. To me, what that says is it reflects that you don't have good boundaries and you don't have good boundaries with other people. So I'm not going to be answering it, even if it's just a yes or no. Okay. That feels not very nice. I try to, as soon as somebody says no to something, I respect that no. And I've said no. So I'm holding no, even though you think it's just a yes or no. That's me taking my energy to connect with somebody else and read into their stuff. This is 16 years of experience of doing this professionally and an entire lifetime, practicing, taking courses and everything else. So when you dismiss it like that and say, well, it's only this, that feels like you could find somebody else to answer that for you. Okay. I know that you don't see it as a big deal, but it is me taking my time and my energy, and I'm connecting with several different people and all of their energy. And I'm not asking a lot of money, and I do take it, part of it, and set it to charity. So how much more do I have to give of myself to people is my question to you. And at what point is it okay for me to say no? It's okay. It's a good learning lesson for you when somebody says no, to just honor that no, right? That's it. If somebody says no to you, honor that no, because the reciprocal of that is you're allowed to say no to somebody and have them honor that too, right? Okay, so let's move on. Phyllis. Thank you, Starry Sky. So I actually used to do readings here totally free for a while. And then people became very disrespectful about it, like they were owed something. And so I stopped doing that. And I only did like $5 questions. And, I've seen people who have much less experience, who are not very talented, charging much more than I do. So I try to be, respectful that people, don't always have a lot of money and can't pay. I try to find balance in everything that I do. Hi, Joelle. Good to see you. Okay, Phyllis, I got you. Thank you for being on top of it. I would like to know about my health. My doctor wants me to do a stool sample because I've been having issues with my tummy, diarrhea, nausea. I was diagnosed with IBS, but not sure what else. I feel like, I don't know if it's like a diverticulitis or something like that, or little polyps or something like that. And also try taking an antihistamine, just like a little kid's chewable 12.5 milligrams, nothing crazy, and see if that calms your tummy down. If that calms your tummy down, it's not IBS. Again, entertainment purposes only. I'm not a doctor or a therapist or whatever, but if it's safe to take and you do some research, it might be worth trying it. I also feel like my sense is that you could use some more digestive enzymes when you eat. Again, check with your doctor. This is just lend you into a direction. If he's like, yeah, that's totally fine, take them, don't worry about it. It feels like that as well. But the reason why, so I see like almost like inflammation in your intestines, and I'm leaning towards it being a histamine issue, which can be more, because of inflammation. And did this start with a virus like COVID? And I say that because that can, if you have been prone to histamine issues, it can push that off. I'm like, let me just look at that. I think that's for inflammation, yeah? Oh, Joel, I got your payment. Oh, your liver. And that could be because of needing. Oh, interesting. Do you take vitamin D? How elevated was it? Oh, you had COVID-19. Okay, so do this. Try an antihistamine and see if it calms your tummy down. If it calms your tummy down, COVID could have thrown you into an MCAS type thing, and explore that with your doctor. Like if you're like, hey, happened to take an antihistamine, and just, you don't need a huge dose of it, just 12.5 if it starts to make you feel better. Just, I don't feel Crohn's. Try. Oh, that was weird. Sorry. Something just closed down on my computer, not here. Try the antihistamine. If that works, it's probably because COVID tipped you over the edge of like having an MCAS kind of flare up. And talk to your doctor about that. Like, if you feel more comfortable, obviously mention it to your doctor before you even take one, and just say, hey, I just thought I would try this. And then if it works, just say like, I heard. You're very welcome. There is a connection between MCAS flare-ups and COVID-19, just saying. And I don't feel Crohn's. I feel like just inflammation, and that can be also because of, like COVID affects quite literally every system in your body. And yeah, and it also reactivates dormant stuff too. So sure, CB, you can put in for another question. Okay, Miss Julia, you've been waiting so patiently. Joel, I forgot to capitalize. Please forgive me. Doesn't mean you're not important. General, okay, sure. Oh, you've been really working on your intuition stuff. Um, do more breath work though, because I still feel like I'm getting caught up in not breathing enough. And I also feel like they're saying to like make sure you're learning to take yourself out of the situation and look at it from above, because it'll give you a better perspective of what's going on. And it's like this idea of learning to see things like a little bit more outside of yourself as an observer rather than like panic, worry, how do I make this decision? How do I control everything? It's like when you're going into meditations, to ask to see it from a different perspective, or even to set the intention. You don't even have to do it as a meditation, but to set the intention to see things from a different perspective or from a more removed perspective so that you can make your decisions and judgments um, with less emotional connection. So yes, I have. I feel that that breathing worked. Breathing too. We'll try to think that will work better. Yeah, I just think doing a little bit more intentional breathing will help you kind of let go of stuff a little bit more. Because I feel like there's a frustration. Like I'm doing all this meditation, I'm trying to be more spiritual, and I feel like there's a bit of frustration of like, and yet I'm still like get really annoyed and stuck with these things that are very human. But remember, maybe I take this from a different approach, but like we're meant to come down here and have a human experience. Like this idea of like, oh my God, I'm ascended and I'm enlightened and I'm gonna go and be like if you were meant to be in this like godlike whole full experience, you would not have incarnated here. Like you came for the mess. And so like what we learn to do is be like, I still have emotions, I still have reactions, and that's okay. It is how we decide to choose to respond in those moments. And you can still have them and feel them and then like, oh, okay, like now I can move beyond them. I don't have to like sit in them for 3 weeks, but I'm still going to have them. And that's part of the experience of being human. I'm glad you like the meditation. I mean, I know what it's like to be like, oh, I just want to be ascended because I was there. And then, like, the more I grew in my spiritual connections and really, really, really started developing a good self concept and what follows I am is really important, and trusting in the law of assumption and going like that brought me to a different level to be like, oh no, like, we're still really supposed to have this human experience. And I don't think I think being ascended really is more about like acceptance and willingness to have this human experience and find compassion through it, not being above anybody else and like being like your guides or source or whatever, because that's not why we're here. Lessons to be learned, and I'm following my intuition instead of what others make me think I should. Perfect. That's what you should do. I mean, no shoulds, but you know what I mean. Sure, ask a clarifying question, no problem. Good to see you, Gia. Um, when I'm in your energy, I feel like when you like, okay, I'm going to give you a couple different examples. The one example is like you're at the top of the peak of a roller coaster and you know you're going to fall and you know you're going to fall, but you're really, really scared, even though you'll know you'll be safe through it. Or like another, I kind of have a fear of heights. So, I mean, like totally do, not even just kind of like do. Even when I know I'm safe, I'm like even when like I'm in a building looking out, I'm in a physical structure that is like engineered for safety and I still get scared from it, right? There's nothing that's going to make me fall out of it. The glass is there. But like there was this, it was called it like a I don't know, is it called a trust dive or what? But you climb to the top of this. You have a safety line on you, but you climb to the top of this electrical pole, and you climb up and you stand on top of it, and it's like, 12 inches around, or maybe 16 at most. And you're supposed to dive for this trapeze bar and grab the trapeze bar. It took me forever to do it. It's that idea of like, I know it's there. I know it's there. I know it's there. I'll check CB. Yes, I got it. And I still was afraid to do it. I still had a hard time. And it's that idea of like, I know I want this. I know I want this. I'm ready. I'm ready. I'm right at the edge. I'm right at the edge. And there's still that fear holding you back. That's where I feel like you're at right now. So when do we get over it? When do I make the leap to actually energetically put myself out there and receive love and be open to receiving love? I feel like you take a step in like 6 weeks, but 6 months is where I really feel like that's when it comes in and you're really, really open to it. That's exactly what I felt. It's like that anxiety of like, oh, I'm right on the edge. I'm right there. I'm ready to do it, but I feel like 6 weeks is where you sort of like take that, and 6 months is about when it comes in. It doesn't mean that you won't meet the person before then. It just feels like that's where it's like really I'm swimming in it. And here's the thing, because I really feel like you've had a history of some like not so great relationships. You can trust yourself to see the red flags. And not only just see them, because we all see them when they happen, right? We can all look at past relationships. We're like, oh, there were so many red flags, and I just like barreled right through them. You're going to honestly listen to them. It's going to be an easy weed out system, and that's what allows for the good ones to come in. Greasy. Great. I was like, what? Okay. So hang on. Julia said, my rent is getting a reduced rate to help. So you were, oh, yay. I love being right, but I also love the reduced rate for you. I'm hoping a quiet lifetime to Christmas though. Oh, totally hear that. Okay, so let me just update my list and then I will answer the thing. Okay. Here's what I'm always going to say. Okay. Regarding yours, she said, and I've been sick since May with my body issues, and I took blood work for hormones and everything appeared fine. I tested for all female hormones and the doctor said I was in the clear, even though I am, and I should go back and get tested since you feel like it's hormonal issue. 2 mediums said they thought you would need surgery. Here's what I believe. I believe that we can be symptomatic for things that our thresholds of our tests don't always show when we're symptomatic, that our body may show up with symptoms before our labs change. So I would go back and say, I'm having these symptoms. Can we retest? And would we be willing to this is what you're going to say to them. Because they're not like, they'd have to do other tests anyway to figure out your ovaries and like do surgery. I don't feel surgery. I genuinely don't feel surgery. Does it mean I can be wrong? Sure. But I genuinely don't feel surgery. Okay. So I'm going to say that. I also feel like when you go back to the doctor, this is what you're going to say to them. If they're like, you're fine, say, okay, if all of that's fine and my symptoms aren't coming from hormonal changes, because I'm going to be very honest with you about this, women's hormonal changes and symptoms have not been studied well enough. Women have been neglected in medicine. There's a lot of misogyny in medicine. Women were not even included in studies until the 90s. So they didn't know until the 90s that women had different symptoms of heart attacks. Like one size does not fit all in medicine. So when you go back to the doctor and you say, I'd really like you to retest. I'm wondering if there's been a shift. I really don't feel good. I've also done some research and seen what, perimenopausal symptoms. How old are you? Perimenopause can start as early as 30. Okay. And the stuff I'm feeling feels like my hormones are off. You're 29. Perimenopause can start early. So you're going to ask for that. And then you're going to say, okay, if it's not this, what's your differential diagnosis? What do you say this is? Because it's not anxiety. And how do you treat it? And you could say, if they're on the low to normal range, if you still have your hormones and they're on low to normal, say, can we try treating it, even though they're technically within normal limits, treating it with a little bit of hormone replacement and see if that helps things get better. I'm happy to be wrong. I absolutely am. But I can only tell you that this is what I'm feeling. I really don't feel surgery. And also, hormones are produced in your ovaries. So if they're seeing ovarian things, January 2nd. So hang in there until then. Drink lots of water. I know that sounds like whatever, but water is pretty amazing for your body anyway. Also, cut gluten out of your diet. Just for a few weeks, cut gluten out. Because that just like popped into my head. Because whenever I eat gluten, my neck hurts. Oh, bummer. Like I get headaches from yeast. And not all yeast, just certain types of yeast. And I don't, because I've made my own bread and like there's certain brands that don't bother me and there's other brands that absolutely give me massive raging headaches. So hang in there. Okay, Regine, what's your other question? Of course. Shay, I got yours. Oh, XOXO, sorry. I got your payment. Regine or Joelle, if you guys want to go. There you are, Regine. Sure. I'm glad you're feeling better. Sorry, I'm just trying to move my energy just to see like what. You've been doing meditations too. Like I see you working with your tarot, but I also see you working with different energy differently and experiencing things differently because I felt separate from my body, which I think is something new for you to feel like the difference between you being embodied and you as your soul. And then I saw like an energy flow coming towards me. And I just feel like I finally figured out like had an experience where I could see energy or feel it like coming in a different through one of my clairs. It's almost this feeling of too of like oh no, what does this mean? Like, what does this mean for me if I'm stepping into it this way? And they're sort of saying relax and have fun playing in the field of this. It's a feeling of like being disembodied, but still very grounded. And they're sort of saying like it's really important for you to have this experience because it helps to heal some of the things around you. A lot of meditations and sounds. Okay. You're feeling different. You're doing it fine. This idea that like, oh, you cannot meditate wrong. Even if you fall asleep, you're doing it right because you've relaxed your body enough to do what it needs to do. Yeah, they're sort of saying just like have fun with it and play, like make it like play for yourself. Don't be so rigid about the rules around it. Just have fun and play with it. And they're like, and that's when amazing things happen. There's this interesting idea that in those gateway tapes that I was listening to, and I sort of stopped doing them only because it felt like they were a bit regressive for me. And I felt like became more distracting to me than it needed to be, but I did take some of the ideas and steps of it, but I just listened to this other just sound that doesn't have any talking to it now because I found his voice jarring and pulling me out of stuff where I wanted to just be in that energy. But there's almost this idea of like, and this is a belief system that he'll call you back in or whatever. Like your soul is tethered to your body. The only way your soul is leaving is if it's your time is up and your time to go. But your soul is truly tethered to your body. You're not going to lose your body and not come back. I realize that some people have some mental breaks and go into things like, spiritual psychoses and things like that. They were already set up for that. Like that's just not just something that just happens. So you're doing it right. They're sort of saying just have fun with it and keep doing what you're doing. Joelle, what's your question? You're very welcome. I would like to know what advice is there for me regarding my career choice. Continue to develop our restaurant or should I get a job? Sorry. Just ignore me. I still feel like you should be doing the restaurant stuff. My sense is not getting a job elsewhere. Okay. So I'm not going to say should, right? So it's like, but I feel like staying with the restaurant feels like you would be happier doing that. Here's the caveat. Having another job, yes, there's a sense of security of money coming in and a little bit more structure and a little bit less responsibility. But the truth is even if you have this other job, you're still going to be doing the restaurant stuff. I just feel like there's so much more creativity available to you and it's going to get better. It just feels like into next year more. Hi, Karen. These are paid readings. If they're personal and private, their paid readings are $12, and I donate 30% to the Community Food Bank of New Jersey. If you have a general reading, if you'll hold on just a few more minutes, and then like, world events kind of stuff, then I'll answer that for free. Okay, because I'm going very slow now. Yeah, I get it. I feel like it starts to pick up more in January, actually. It also feels like it would be good to like find ways to like bring people in more. Um, I'll send you an email on that. You're welcome. Okay. CB, what's your other question? And then XOXO. How to get it to regrow, or what's the issue? I lost hair on my birthday last year due to improper styling. So I feel like vitamin D is your friend. Like really and truly, when I started taking vitamin D3K2, it like my hair started coming back. Like I had a lot of thinning in here, and you can see that it's not like it. But if you watch some of my older videos, you can see it kind of went far back. I also feel like I just felt like putting like oil on it, like a rosemary oil on it. And I also feel like there's a stress component to it. So trying to decrease your stress levels as much as possible. I feel like it's actually using like a rosemary oil, and then vitamin D will be very helpful. And then it also feels like finding a way to de-stress. And there's lots of research out there on rosemary oil, essential oil, that I mean, that it works really well. Like as good, if not better, than minoxidil. I think that's the one is. But I feel that vitamin D is really important, believe it or not. I know I push it a lot, but vitamin D3, K2. You want to make sure you get the K2 in it. Don't just take D3. Try rosemary oil. Try rosemary oil. Try rosemary oil. Even like my nails are so much healthier now. When I've gone and got my nails done, they're like, your nails are so strong. And I swear it's the D3K2. Use rosemary oil. Buy some more. And D3K2. Okay, XOXO, you're up, and then we're done with private readings. Tell me the Virgo's name. I don't really care their sign. I just don't. First name is fine. Okay. And that's one of his names. We have lots of aliases. This is concerning. Kidding. All right, let's ask about Soon's energy. He feels like he jokes around a lot. Uh, this is gonna be weird. Okay, I feel like he's financially very stable. I feel like he makes a lot of jokes, and sometimes at the expense of others. I also feel like if you date him, one of the things that might annoy you is the jokes, because it feels like when it's important and when things are serious, he's cracking a joke in order to um, like shift the energy about it. And I feel like it will be a frustration of yours. So like sometimes when I see relationships, I'll see where the struggle might be. So sometimes people will be communication. Sometimes it'll be financial. And I feel like that might be an issue for you, is that the joking around a bit. Does that mean you shouldn't date him? No. It just means that's where the toughness will be. Um, oh, him having other options? Why wouldn't you be concerned about you having other options? Quit putting him on a pedestal. He's just a dude. He's just a dude. Um, some of his short, I don't want any. I'm so over having options. Okay. I want you to really look into the idea of self concept work, to really lean in towards paying attention to what follows I am. Because when you do that, it's like, of course he would want me, even if he has a million choices in the world and they're all the most amazing, talented, beautiful, blah, blah, blah. Of course he would choose me because I'm the only option. I'm the only one available. I'm the only one he really is attracted to. Like, you can decide what everything means, really and truly. I feel like one of the things that you're going to have to combat here is that emotional connection. I feel like, and this can be shifted with self concept work. So when I see him, what I see is somebody who um, maybe just puts men a little bit above women, their opinions, their wants, their needs, their desires, things like that. Like, oh, that's a silly girl thing. That's a silly woman thing. Like, I feel like he sort of is dismissive of some of the things. My sense is that can be shifted with your self concept work. So deciding, like, oh, of course he honors and respects me. Of course, like, changing all of that stuff. But you also have to be like, I'm deserving of a respectful relationship. Um, I am not less than because I'm a woman. I am equal to or better. Like, just whatever you need to do to shift that belief system of like, somehow they're up here and I'm down here. And some of that really does come from societal stuff. Like, it's not like, I think that, your family walked around and was like, oh, you're a girl, you should shut up and just be seen and not heard. But there's a societal belief system like, oh, well, why you should smile more. You should, like, and even for our own safety, oftentimes we have to like appease men when they're being totally inappropriate and not okay. But what I'm saying is when people show up that way in our lives, it's a reflection of our own belief system. So I'm not saying you fully believe that, but there's just a feeling there that like that a sense of superiority over women. Not huge, but it feels like it's underlying there. I could be wrong. I could be totally off about this guy, but that's the feeling I get. So it's this idea then of like you're like, I'll just take anybody because I'm just so tired. Like, believe me, no relationship is better than a bad relationship. He had a status because he's more upscale. And that could be what I'm feeling. It's just that feeling of being a little bit more. Yeah. So, but then that's like, you can take him off that pedestal. I mean, everybody wipes their butt at the end of the day when they have to go to the bathroom. I mean, not literally at the end of the day, but like literally everybody, no matter how famous they are, no matter how elevated or, like, oh my God, they're a master surgeon, like, oh, like they're so incredible. Like, but they still have to wipe their butt. Right. And so like when you can look at somebody that real way of like being like, yeah, and at the end of the day, they still have to wipe their butt. Like their people are people. It doesn't matter. And all of those people, even the ones that get all the attention, they still have faults. They're still human. Take them off a pedestal. So when you can look at somebody like that and be like, well, why wouldn't you be elevated? And like, who cares if you're not famous? Doesn't mean you're not just a total amazing, badass, beautiful, wonderful person, right? Feel that way, but then I also just revert back into the thinking that he has so many options or not. Yeah, and you're one of them and you're the most amazing option. And he loves the fact that you're down to earth and he loves the fact that you're not famous and he loves the fact that you're not in all of that because that clouds people's brains sometimes, when they're constantly surrounded by people who just yes, 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 you're the most amazing, of course, blah, 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 blah. I got some new plants this weekend at the little thing. I got this one. This is just a little cutting, but I like the little thing that it came in. And I got a tiny little snake plant. This one's just, I have neglected it. I really need to help it out. And then I got this other really pretty different kind of pothos. It's like a sea blue. I don't know. You're welcome. So what I say is just keep doing the self-concept work. Here's the thing. Even when you get the relationship, you're still going to be doing the self-concept work because new stuff creeps up, because like those old belief systems that are really in there are hard to reprogram. They take, it's just like anything that you do, you're always like anything I do, I'm always refining and improving my skills. I don't stop practicing and think like, well, I'm the most psychic I'll ever be. That's it. Like, it's like, I still have doubts sometimes. And yes, propagated. That's the word. I just loved it. I thought it was so cute. And I thought, oh, well, then if I want to plant this somewhere else, then I can propagate other ones in here. And this was also really cool. Like, so this woman, she, like, you could tell, I was like, oh, what's wrong? Because I bought it right at the end of the thing. I bought 3 plants and I was like, oh, I was like, well, I want those 2 little ones. And I was like, I really like that one, but I don't know. And she's like, please take it. And I was like, well, how much is it? And she's like, it's $30. And I was like, oh yeah, I'll take it. Like, it's in a nice pot, like and it's this really big, gorgeous plant. I was like, okay, totally, no problem. And I could see just like this, like, and I was like, are you okay? She's like, well, I just lost my job and I'm trying to get this going. And I was like, I hope people bought from you. And I was like, I need your card. I will. She's local, small business doing plants. I said, when I want plants, I'm coming to you. I don't need to go to a big plant store. I'll come to you. And like, I was like, I want to support, especially women's entrepreneurship. I want to support these businesses. So like, I feel really good about this purchase. Like, I feel like I'm really helping somebody else's business and livelihood, and not just like, that's a store with their employees and whatever. And she was just like so nice. I was so happy to be able to like support her. Okay. So are we good? Does anybody have any general questions they want to ask? 6 o'clock. So just remember with the self-concept stuff, like a lot of times I still have to go back and be like, oh no. Like, I'll see, it doesn't trigger me as bad. I don't sit in it as long, but I look at stuff and I'm like, oh, that's interesting. So when I bought my car, leased it, I had said to the guy, this was a really good learning lesson. And now I actually really like the color now, but like, I was like, anything but blue. And he brought out a blue. And I thought, well, that's an interesting learning lesson. Like, very big to me of like, hey, ask for what you want. Ask the universe for what you want. Be specific. Don't just go, well, I just don't want that. Anything this or better, like that or better one is annoying to me. Just ask for what you want. If you want the better, just ask for the better. Stop like lowering the bar and then waiting to see what shows up or what somebody else feels like showing up for you. You're taking your power away. Okay. I hope it triggered a really positive path for her. I hope that that like encouraged her and let her know that people, I love her plants. They were just really cared for and loved. Um, okay. Oh, wait, hang on. I have to do something because it puts top chat instead of automatically, and that's annoying because then I miss stuff. Oh shit, all the Trump stuff. Sorry. No, I was wrong about it. Okay. Okay. I'm gonna skip around a little bit. Okay. The drone stuff. This is what I got on the drone stuff. I find it fascinating. So immediately I felt like they're built by okay, I'm trying not to murky because you get different information. So initially when I first got it, I felt like it's built by not Lockheed Martin, but I think it's this company RTX, which has government contracts. Because what I did was I was like, it was a feeling that it was like somebody who has government contracts, but who is like under the radar of like, you know how they're like, oh, Pentagon lost $3 trillion. Like, what did that go to? Like under one of these of like, we get the money and we don't have to tell you what we're doing with it. And I feel like that might be it. Maybe it's Lockheed Martin, but I actually got something like black. But when I looked at the names, RTX felt the closest to what I was looking at. Like that's the one I was drawn to. I don't even know what it is. I don't know. Like I don't know if I'll ever talk about this again because I don't want anybody to come and knocking on my door for entertainment purposes only. For entertainment purposes only. So I feel like this is one of those things. My sense was like it's this is more of a test. I also feel like when people are like, oh, it's got different shapes or it's different, I feel like they were able to back engineer some stuff. And it's interesting because the sounds that it makes, I feel like those are intentional and that maybe they don't actually fly by like noisy things, that they could actually do it silently. But I feel like those sounds are made intentionally. Like I think on the Teslas that you can make them have different sounds so they're not quiet if you prefer to hear like the engine noise. That's what I feel like it is. And I feel like that's to soothe people so that they're not as scared of it being silent and like all of these different things. And yes, I do believe they've engineered something like Plasma E where it can change shapes and stuff. I don't feel like they made it on their own. And I don't know what their purpose is. Allegedly. This is all for entertainment purposes only. So all of a sudden like my voice is like now triggered all these things and like all these creepy people are gonna be like, I'm just kidding. That was my feeling on it. The other one I wanted to talk about quick too was like, I don't know if any of you have heard about like the booms in Idaho. And I saw a video and the guy showing this mountain, and I immediately got an image of like that. It's some kind of underground base that's already been built out, and they're testing something that they found And they're obviously like, it's the tests are failing. That's why they're getting the booms. Because it's not, whatever they're testing is not stabilized, but the byproducts of whatever is creating the boom is actually just like hydrogen and oxygen, like stabilized, not volatile. So like basically water, vapor. That's what I just got the correction on. I feel like that's the result of that is not initially, but and I don't feel like it's the intention of it, but I feel like long-term result of that is a sort of type of clean energy that they're going to end up being able to use as a result of these. That's down the road though. And I feel like those people that are connected to it, when they're saying they're seeing secret people or whatever, feels like, again, something like a Lockheed Martin RTX, one of like the like government contract things that's like super undercover, but like, so like even when they're saying the military doesn't know about things, I genuinely believe the military doesn't know what the stuff is. Because it's like top clearance, whatever. Nobody can know about it. Blah, 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 blah. Also, I had this other thought the other day that came to me. I don't know if any of you heard Tucker Carlson talking about like interdimensional beings, and there's like, they're demons. I sort of feel like that's just another way to control people. Like, yes, I believe aliens are real, but I feel like that's another ruse to control people and scare people, to keep the ruse going, right? Because if people stop being afraid of the man behind the curtain, all of a sudden the control is lost. Do I believe in interdimensional beings? Yeah. Do I believe in demons? I don't know. I think we sort of create them energetically. And yes, there are beings that are like not nice because I've seen them, but also they're kind of respectful of boundaries, which is weird. And I really think the evil bad guys are actually humans. Like, willing to like take away people's rights for, to get more money and power and things like that. I think that's pretty fucking evil if you ask me. I don't know. Like, I think those are the things that you need to worry about more versus interdimensional beings that are demons coming to suck your energy. Because if we want to look at energy, money is just a symbolism of energy, the energy that you worked. Here's the money for the energy that you worked and put into this type thing, right? And so the people who are really sucking your energy and taking from you are giant corporations and people and the evil billionaires. Those are the people that are really stealing your energy. You're just not seeing it that way. And when the government refused to, like when people, the politicians are getting lobbied and they write contracts to like, give corporations big breaks, those are the ones stealing your energy and feeding off of you. I think that it's easier for us as humans to think that like, oh no, there's these really big, bad, evil people that are, evil beings that are going to suck all our energy and we're being harvested that way. Like, you're being harvested by the people right around you in your everyday life that are just human beings. They just suck. What else what's going to say? Because that kind of led me into something else. I want to say something else. I don't know if anybody finds this valuable. I'll get the other answers too. I don't remember what it was. It'll come back to me. Okay, the Syrian president has fallen. Do I see a lot of Syrians moving back from Europe back to Syria? Yes, I do feel like there will be a migration over the next 10 years moving back to Syria. Once it's a little bit more stabilized, it's not quite there yet. And so I think there's going to be, for the next like 2 to 3 years, a little bit of a watch and wait to see how it goes. But within the next 10 years, yeah, I do see it, a flow back for some. You love my rambling because it leads to interesting information and insights. Good. I'm glad you do. Because like sometimes stuff just comes. I'm like, oh yeah, there's that too. There's something else I was going to say. I don't remember. I don't feel like it'll be a mass exodus. I feel like it'll be like, you know, not mass. Like I don't see it like it feels like though like a gradual move back. Do you see any escalations in the UK? Recently, we had a 3M signature telling our new government we wanted him out. Nigel Farage has become really popular. Do you see him in power soon? Is he a right winger? I just want to see his face because when I think of Nigel, I think of the Dancing with the Stars Nigel, and I don't think. Okay. No. So here's the thing. Even if he does come in, I feel like there's a fall, a pretty quick fall. If you start looking at this is the age of Aquarius, right? This or not the age of Aquarius. This is Pluto in Aquarius. People like where it's like masks are falling off. People are no longer standing up. Like people are taking their power back, right? It becomes about community and society. I think I'm getting this right. So if anybody's into astrology and you're like, you're stupid, you need to shut up about that. This is what I think it is. I could be wrong. So you can correct me here on this one. So even if he gets in, I feel like he falls pretty quickly. People are just desperate to be heard, seen, validated, treated like human beings. And so unfortunately, some of them are so depleted of that, they will drink from a poisonous source, so to speak. So as you've seen too in other areas, they're like Trump is not a great guy, but he's also a pawn. He's a patsy, if you will, for Putina. And so they're all kind of becoming patsies for them and for him. And so, but you're seeing people. It's just the revolution will be a little different than in the past. But you're seeing people rise up against these things and saying like, no, this isn't right. Something's not right. And it feels like more has to fall in order for everybody to like kind of then see where it's really coming from. Do I think the guy from NYC will be caught? Nope. I think somebody's going to take a fall for him, but I don't think the actual guy is going to be caught. Nope. And like, I don't think that picture where they show the picture of the guy smiling, that's not him. No, I think he is enjoying his day, happy as can be, maybe on another assignment. Like he is not. Yeah, he is not. Not going to be caught. Whoever they end up catching is not actually the real guy. Just like Lee Harvey Oswald. Nope. They'll find somebody to take the fall, but it's not the real guy. Oh, I know what I was going to say. So I don't like Sloan Bella. I don't like her. I know somebody who knows her lightly or whatever, and so she's really nice. I'm sure she's a very nice woman. I don't like her reading style. I don't. The idea of like, oh, there's all these demons and they're sucking your blood. Like she's so up the ass of like, oh, Hollywood is so evil and they do all of these terrible things. Like, yes, they do. Right. There's trafficking. There's all kinds of crappy things that happen in there. It happens everywhere. But like with this, I saw something she said about the death of the CEO, and she was like, oh, you should feel sorry for his family. And he's just a figurehead. He's not really the one making the decisions. However, this is my point of it. Yeah, but he agreed to be the figurehead. He agreed to stand there and be like, look at me. And he agreed to take all that blood money. So I'm sorry. Like he has more power than, like, yeah, there's a board or whatever else, but he's also agreeing to be a part of that. And he also agreed to take the blood money, and he had no problem taking it. And it is blood money. It's absolutely blood money. And remember, I said a long time ago, I felt like 2026 is where we're going to start seeing some changes in the healthcare industry and in insurance. And I really believe that. And that there's going to be like a fall of some of the major insurance companies. Some of them will last and make it through it to be like with like the single payer health insurance. But we're moving away from we're going to move away from things being for profit. And that's part of Pluto moving into Aquarius, is people starting to go like, this isn't right. Like, that's a huge wake up call when you see all of the comments on there. And it's like, everybody is uniting over this. It doesn't matter, because the truth is the healthcare system is fukakta. And I think what's really going to help is when people start calling the bluff on being like, stop calling it Obamacare, stop, making it like, oh, that bad guy, when it's literally the same thing. It's ACA. Stop demonizing it. Stop saying that it's like, oh, you're living off the government. It's socialism, or it's more taxes. We pay so much in premiums. We would actually have more money in our pocket by paying a little bit more in taxes and not have the premiums and all of that. We would have a much better system. So the idea that it's like, standing up and saying this is a primary importance. Do you know how much easier it would be if people didn't have to worry about like, well, I can't go because I'm sick. I've got this really bad, but like you would be, so many more people would be happy if they just had actual good healthcare. So there's going to be a lot of big changes over the next 5 to 10 years. Like, it's going to be a ride. I don't know what's going to happen with I've said this before with Trump. I feel like if he ends up serving them 4 years and something doesn't come out about it, it's going to be the same thing as before. It's going to be a lot of ups and downs, a lot of not being able to get a lot of work done. He'll get some things done. He'll do some bad things, but he's not going to be able to get done as much as he wants to. Flying cars, that's going to be a while yet. And I say that because it'll be like the top tier echelon of people, like I want to say the elites first, that would get them. And mostly because of figuring out airspace and safety and all of that stuff is a little more tricky than just roadways. They need to pay mental health providers. I also think a big push against the, where they're saying they want to take away all of veterans' health care. And like, that's going to be really tough for them to do, because you've got people on both sides of the aisle that are going to say like, that's not happening. So if he's in whatever, there's theories that like they have to wait for him to be inaugurated to be able to do anything. I don't really know. I look at it as like, well, if this is happening, what do we see? Rather than like, well, since we know it's going to happen, I just look at it as if. And he's clearly not weeding out, like draining the swamp, like people want to believe. Like he's a convicted felon. He's an essayer. Like, yeah. I mean, it's sad when people can get better health care if they fly out of our country, and cheaper, with the whole vacation involved. So there's going to be some changes. I agree with everybody. Like, this is not, there's going to be changes coming in, but it's nothing is overnight. And honestly, people couldn't handle if stuff was overnight. It's just not the way people are. I mean, in the next few months, I mean, aren't we already seeing them? I think we're going to keep seeing more of this, more people uprising and standing up for their rights, and no longer tolerating things. My sense sort of this, these drones and things is sort of to like, I feel like it's going to be an attempt to try and keep people in line, but it's not going to work. Not long term. You know, fear controls people. And the TikTok ban, I don't think will fully go through. I think there'll be an adjustment of it, but I don't think TikTok will be banned. I've always said that. Will it change? Probably. I think there's going to be some different changes, and I think that's why I saw like a mass exodus in June of next year. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it might be June of 2026, but and it feels more around just like no longer liking some of the stuff around the platform, like the community guidelines stuff and censoring and things like that. Not censoring, but like what do they call it? Shadow banning kind of stuff. I would love us all to begin community food production. Yeah, I mean, look, there's a lot of things that could be done better that we moved away from, and that's a lot of colonialism. And that, colonialism is not just in the United States. It was a way to like, we basically in the United States, we live in an oligarchy now. I mean, it's not even really, when you see somebody like Elon Musk who wasn't voted for having all of this say and all of this money to like go in and like, apparently he did something with Progress 2028 where he sent out flyers of like bullshit things that Kamala Harris was supposedly going to do, like like just to scare people into like going, oh my God, we can't stand for this, like stupid things like, oh, all of the immigrants are gonna have healthcare. First of all, I don't really care who has healthcare. My money, like we pay so much money in taxes. If they can lose $3 trillion, I'm pretty sure we can handle taking care of everybody's healthcare, immigrants and people who are from here, naturalized and etc. So it's just absurd. So sent out all of these like mailers to, swing states. And so I also felt like there's going to be some comeuppance for him. So, and remember a long time ago, I did see Trump in cuffs and I did see, so that hasn't happened yet. And it's one of those things where I feel like it's going to happen. I just don't know when, and I don't know why. So there's going to be a lot of big world stuff going on over the next year and a half, really. Lots of big changes, but I'm not strong on the world war in the sense of like nuclear weapons kind of stuff. It feels more just like pissing contests of like tariff and trade wars type things. That's what it feels like to me. So, all right, I'm going to go because it's getting late and I have to help somebody study for a test. So I will see y'all next weekend. I don't know. That's it. Have a good one.